All right. Homi, you want to get started?
Yeah. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody, wherever you are located at. Thank you so much for joining the session today. What we're going to talk about today is a little bit about digital transformation and what it all means. Sandeep and I will try and contribute and run the session. So first we'll introduce ourselves very quickly and then we'll move into the topic itself. So to introduce myself, my name is Homiar Pestanjamas. About 30 years experience with IT organizations, primarily US, UK, and Asia Pacific, manufacturing, insurance, various different domains. CSM certified Scrum Master. I focus on projects for large organizations which are transformational in nature. Sandeep and I worked a long time earlier, and we thought that this session might be useful for a lot of people. So that's why we decided to go ahead and do this. Sandeep, over to you.
Thanks, Homi. And once again, welcome to all of you. I am Sandeep Raut, spent about 34 years in the IT industry. And as Homi said, a lot of time went into Patni. So a lot of world travel also has happened through Patni. And while doing this now, I also spent a lot of time on speaking at various events in Digital Transformation Summit. I do write a lot, and that's where people and publications thought that I know something about digital transformation. And that's how you can see all these recognitions here. I am the top 10 global thought leader and influencer on digital transformation by IDG. And then there are multiple, I will not go through each one of them, but I am president for CXO Club in Mumbai. I am on the advisory board of MBA schools in Mumbai, India, Chetna, NMIMS, then Indira Business School. I also teach at Wellington. So that's a quick, short, sweet introduction. I will again give it back to Homi just to cover a couple of slides, and then we will take it on the digital transformation. Homi?
Sure. Thanks, Sandeep. So primarily, if you have seen in the last few years, and if you have followed some of the articles on this subject, you would have seen what McKinsey, Gartner, and all the large companies are talking about. They are showing that basically all the organizations have accelerated the digitalization for their work, and especially from a customer and a supply chain perspective, because those are the areas which need the maximum amount of focus on. It has been primarily, if you look at it, can you go to the next slide, Sandeep? It has been in terms of the customer interactions that the jump has been very significant. And also in terms of the products, the digitalization in the product side of it, that the jump has been significant. So what we have seen is over a period in the last couple of years, I mean, a disproportionate jump in terms of the digitalization has taken care. Now, what Gartner says is that you're going to accelerate the digital business initiatives worldwide across. And so what we thought is that let's understand and define what does digital transformation mean and what are the implications around that. So that's where I will pass it on to you, Sandeep.
Thanks, Somi. And I do like to simplify the things. So we will start from what is digital transformation, because when I spoke or meet the CXOs, I do coach them in the masterclass, there is still a confusion. So I start with this theme that there are tons of data, insights, and action. And what's the difference between data and insight? So I give a simple example that there are 20,000 species of snakes in the world. That is data. But the one under your chair is poisonous. That is the insight. And now you understand how important is the action, right? Either you have to run away from that snake or kill that snake. So this is the theme in the digital transformation, that whatever data and insights you get, unless and until you act upon it, it's not going to help anyone. And that's with that theme we will go forward. Now, we all heard about disruptions all the time, and let's understand what is disruption. Again, I have put together very simple real life examples that in 80s mainframe was almost disrupted by a personal computer when Bill Gates brought it, right? I mean, earlier I remember, and me and Homi, when we were working with Patni, we had a mainframe connection. So any time or every 1 hour, we used to get a link break, and we used to celebrate, hey, chalo, let's go to canteen. With personal computer, that was kind of snatched away from us, and that's a disruption, obviously. Then you all know Walkman. Sony was the leader in the music industry, but in 2004, iPod came into picture. Apple, they were not at all present in the music industry, but Sony was disrupted with the introduction of iPod. Nobody could even imagine there could be a hard disk and you can store thousands of songs instead of having an audio cassette and listening to that. One more such example of disruption, Kodak rolls. Again, we used to take a lot of pictures on those photos, on those rolls, disrupted by digital cameras. Even today, digital cameras are being disrupted by our smartphones, right? Yesterday, I just bought a mobile camera for my daughter, 48 megapixel. I couldn't even imagine that kind of power we have on the smartphones. So only, professionals are using digital cameras. This is the killer. I mean, we used to have these 8-inch floppy drive like a paratha, both hands we used to take that floppy and put it into the computer. Now we have more than 360 or 200 GB of USB drive. That's a great disruption, I can say. Who doesn't know the MTNL black dialing phone, rotary phone, right? Again, that's been disrupted by all the smartphones. And latest disruption, I would say, from normal printers to 3D printers. That's where, as Omi said, manufacturing people, supply chain people, they have started printing the spare parts instead of depending on all the vendors, suppliers to get them things on time, on quality. So Boeing and all the aircraft engine manufacturing companies, they also started printing the spare parts in with this 3D printer. So that is the disruption. Now, at least I hope you got a very simple example to understand. Now let's understand what is digital disruption. Again, Britannica Encyclopedia, one of the good books or encyclopedias we used to read 150 pages each. Now even my daughters don't go there. I mean, that printed edition is stopped and we go to Wikipedia or Google for everything. On another example, Thomas Cook, again, when we used to travel, they used to give us handwritten ticket for airline. Now everything is on Make My Trip and GoIBbo and Yatra.com, right? Digital disruption. So these are the simple examples in our life, how digital has disrupted our lives. Again, waves of disruption. 95, we saw that music, photography, video rental got disrupted. By 2010, print media, TV, and other companies or other industries got disrupted. By 15, every industry got into the digital, and by 2020, we were all forced, right, to get on digital because of pandemic. And now almost 60-70% task force is working from home. That's the, in fact, power of digital. Now anybody can work from anywhere. And these guys came, you all know all of them, right? Bill Gates, again, lot of things he brought in. Steve Jobs from Apple, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, Mark Zuckerberg, usko kaun nahi janta hai, everybody knows him for Facebook, and Elon Musk, Tesla, right? These guys have done a lot of tremendous improvement even in our lives, and that has helped us a lot. This is another way how digital impacts. Like, these guys were robbing a bank, but someone actually started the location update and cop came to know about it. So that's a problem of digital also in our life. So let's understand a simple definition. I mean, again, as I said, I teach a lot of CXOs, so that's where they feel, sir, we have a mobile app, we have a website, we have some processes digitized, we are digital. So I had to tell them, no, that is not. It's just the digitization. Transferring your some process to digital is digitization, not digital transformation. So what is transformation? You exploit all these digital technologies to respond faster to your customer requirements, adopt new business model, and deliver value to your customers. That's a simple definition of digital transformation. Now there is no confusion that I am having a mobile app and I am digital. All right. So George Westerman, he is the Gartner fellow. He said, when digital transformation is done right, it's like caterpillar turning into butterfly. We have seen this transformation. But if it is wrong and many companies go into that mode, it's just a faster caterpillar. You don't get what is the transformation impact of digital transformation. So that's where really many companies fell apart, and they have failed. More than 60-70% companies fail. I like to bring in the pictures again. This is the Mike Tyson Holyfield fight in '96, and he said everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. And same happens today. There is an incumbent who is solid in every company, but there is a disruptor who is just waiting outside. He can come in and punch you. So expect a smack in the face unless and until you actually really adopt digital. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come in and push you out of your business. That's really, really dangerous thing nowadays. This is another reality. Most of the companies, 50%, I would say, have been thrown out of Fortune 500 because they didn't adopt digital. Some examples I have, and I thought I will also coin a term like Gartner's, right? Uber them before they Kodak you. Actually, it is disrupt them before anybody comes and disrupt you. That's what I wanted to say. So Borders, one of the biggest bookstore in US, got closed because Amazon came in. Amazon started with the book selling. Then came the His Master Voice, London music company, again biggest music industry company, got closed because of Spotify, iTunes started streaming. Blockbuster, I remember when I was in US 2000 timeframe, they had more than 8,000 stores across US, but they had to file bankruptcy in 2010 because Netflix started video streaming, and Blockbuster did not adopt that. And irony is Netflix actually went to them and requested them to buy Netflix for $1 million, and Blockbuster did not do that, and you all know rest is the history. Our own Mumbai examples or India, Rhythm House, one of the great music store in Mumbai down south, and we used to go there in college. While we were in college, used to listen to those vinyl records having that headphones. But by 2014 again MP3 wave came in, and they didn't actually move on to that format, so this got closed. Now it is Nirav Modi's property, again attached and closed by ED. So we lost a good landmark of Mumbai because not adopting digital. Same happened to Planet M. Multiple cities, they had a lot of stores in the malls and everywhere else, but again not adoption of digital, not taking that risk of change. That's where companies have to move on and see how best they can adopt the new technologies, new things. This is the reality. Earlier big fish used to eat smaller fish, and this also happens to us while in Patni. Right, I get just $450 million company, and Patni was 985 million that time, 2.5 times bigger. But I get took us over for 1.2 billion in 2007. So this is happening now. Any small fish can take up your company. No industry is left behind. You name the company, name the industry, and they have to get on the digital bandwagon. And with this pandemic now, obviously that's one of the only way. There is no other option. So if you think your business or industry is immune, think again. That's what I would say. Disruption is everywhere. Now let's see why some of these companies have failed. I mean, most of the companies know how to launch the rocket, how to get onto that bandwagon, but they don't know how to actually deliver, land, or go forward. So they think digital as a gamble. They know that they have to win the game, but they don't know where to place the chips. So it's like a gamble they play, and they start following some of the companies, or see how they can follow and get some leverage out of what the leaders are doing. This is another problem with the companies. They don't understand the difference between the customers. There are some customers who are dinosaurs. There are some digital immigrant, maybe I can say my parents. They don't know how to use iPad. That lady is asking, do they deliver emails on Sunday? So that's what happened. And then our kids, or even grandsons of some of the people, they are digital native. I mean, since morning they are on iPad, iPhone, and we are only iPad. Isn't it? Everybody is saying I, and we only pay for that. So that's what happens today. So companies are like this, 5 stages. Every time they start with the denial, no, we don't need to change, our danda is going on word of mouth publicity, we don't require digital. Then slowly they get into the anger mode. Is why everybody is changing, what's the minimum we have to change? They come to the bargaining mode. Then they go into the depression mode, and finally they come to the acceptance mode that digital is the only way to go. So these are the kind of companies, these are the stages of companies I have seen personally. They went through or go through this kind of change. Also imagine if Google says like this, you give us your queries we will print it and give you back in 30 days. Will you even ever go to Google? That's why Google gives you that idea, right? Your query resulted in 0.023 milliseconds because they have that power of technology behind it. So your digital customer experience has to be, must be real time, right? It has to be real time and it has to be intelligent. If there is a problem in front of you, then it should show you the other, like Google Maps shows detour, take a different, take a course correction. That's your customer experience with digital adoption. That's why it is really, really important. Now, when it comes to technology, again, many CXOs feel that digital is all technical or technology. That's not the case. This is just the enabler. So I talk from the right hand side that digital customer experience, think about web tools, mobile, user applications, and all. They are the customer facing technologies. So they are really important. But that will not work unless until you have the digital foresight pillar, which is where personalization comes into picture. So you have business intelligence, big data analytics, visualization kind of technology. Again, these two pillars will work only when you have digital integration pillar, which is where data has to come from any small legacy application to your mobile app, which customer is using. If that data is not passed, your digital is useless. And then comes the emerging technology. Normally we read from left to right, but here I'm pushing you to read from right to left because outside in approach is important. Don't just do digitize something because for the sake of it. It has to be why customer need it, what is the impact on customer experience. That's where technology comes into picture. When you add the vendors, see how difficult it is. If I want to do an analytics project, then shall I use SAS? Shall I go for RapidMiner, R, Python? There are so many choices. And companies spend whole lot of time on this, and vendors obviously will say we are the best. So that's where choice, challenges, everything comes into picture. So that's where I normally help companies to choose the right platform. Let's understand these technologies in a very short manner so that you will get to know what it comes. So earlier Gartner used to say SMAC technology, social mobile analytics and cloud. That's how it started. Then all of these technologies came into and added to the digital transformation. Became the internet of things, UX came into picture, chatbots came into picture. So let's see one by one quickly and how they actually add value to digital. Now, do I need to say anything on social media? We all are there. We do present on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and do market and talk about our business. So this is one of the technology. Mobility. Now, this is not a joke. This picture is not a joke. Actually, this person is in South Africa and they use M-Pesa as a mobile app to transfer money from here to there. While he is, securing his herd, he's still on mobile app. So that's the impact or penetration of mobility on the world. Big data analytics, next technology. Again, you must have heard about, what is happening on volume, variety, velocity. So that's where big data comes into picture. Whenever there is a huge volume of data, which comes with very fast, velocity, and has a lot of variety of data. So we used to say Oracle as a database. Now it is your audio files, video files, text files, anything and everything which was not able to store on Oracle is now big data, you can say. And Google and all these big companies spend whole lot of storage and technology to store this data. So that's where big data analytics comes into picture. It's like a zoo. Earlier, you can see Hadoop first came into picture, that yellow elephant in the center. And this was actually a toy elephant of the duck cutting, who actually started this big data analytics. So that's how then all the animals came into picture. You can see pig is there, you can see giraffe is there, and what we normally used to call DBA, database administrator. Now that person is called zookeeper. So you understand how important all these animal farm is. And you also can find shark here. So many different technologies. Every day they are getting added here. Industry examples, again, Amazon, a lot of good things they have done. And this is their best algorithm. Customers who bought this item also bought this item. So they do, encourage you to buy something more. This is called cross-sell upsell. Artificial intelligence, another technology. Now there is a debate whether it will be a Terminator or Iron Man. right? Terminator, obviously, they will kill the humans, and you have seen all those movies. Or Iron Man, obviously, it's all about whether AI will help us. So, my personal opinion, unless and until they understand our emotions, hate, anger, or something like that, the machines will not kill us because they were not trained to do that. But if this goes into, you know, not good hands, then there is a chance that this can happen. So there is a debate going on, and a lot of senior leaders have talked about it and raised the concern over here. Some good examples are applications of AI, driverless cars. You must have heard about it. Volvo and BMW and lot many companies are doing this. Obviously, in India, it's not possible. We have cycle walas, rickshaw walas, and everybody on the road. But in US, on the freeways, lot of trucks are or cars are now auto drive without any driver on the seat. IBM Chef Watson. This is a supercomputer for IBM. So now they can check what all your raw materials are and can help you tell what is the thing you can cook tonight for the dinner. So that's what using the artificial intelligence machines can do. Then next technology, cloud. Obviously there are multiple ways cloud happens, but I like the cartoon which I have mentioned there. IT industry or IT people, sorry homie, it's not for you. But there are people who fool the businesses saying that you can send data into the cloud with balloons. Little exaggeration, but yes, that's what happens because business people are not so tech savvy, and that's where IT can talk such things. User experience, this is another great technology which is required. So remember this example, UI, Heinz tomato ketchup. This was a glass bottle, chakachak, ekdam good looking, but at the end you cannot get that ketchup out when it actually comes near the end. So they actually tried and talked to the customers and came out with this squeezy bottle. So user experience is improved. That's what is all about digital transformation. You need to think about the customers, you need to think about people who are going to use your products and technology. Now we all know these ladies, Alexa, Cortana, Siri, right? And we have seen again WhatsApp messages flying around, Alexa and Siri fighting with each other. But this is where chatbots now are making headway, and conversational chatbots, you talking to the robot, and she will listen to you, she will book for you, she will call somebody, she can do anything you want. And we do see all these Alexa advertisements, right? Alexa music baja, Alexa light row, and things like that. So that's where conversational bots are coming into reality. Here is one good example, HDFC Bank. They have the chatbot called Eva. She is now the India's first artificial intelligence based chatbot and solving a lot of queries from customers. Next technology, Internet of Things. A lot of things, when they are connected, it is called as Internet of Things. We must have again seen Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, switching on and off his Lloyd's AC from the airport, and then wife scolds him. But that's where Internet of Things come into picture. Anything and everything gets connected. So we know it can happen in farm, it can happen in agriculture, it can happen in security, surveillance, smart cities. In India, there are multiple smart cities. Everything is connected, and now you can use that technology for the betterment of our lives. That's how IoT is making impact. See these examples. Energy management is good. Wearables. Now many people are wearing those smart Fitbit bands, right? Knowing how much you have slept, what is your fitness and activity, and things like that. Cars are now connected. They can tell you. And again, there was a joke that if Tesla you are buying, and if you don't pay the EMI, Tesla will auto drive itself to the dealer. So that's where driverless cars comes into picture, because she understands you are not paid the EMI and she will not stay at your home. So jokes apart, that's the technology going on. Next one, cyber security. This is the most important thing because all these technologies are interconnected, but there are no proper mechanisms or standards yet. And there are still loopholes where people can hack into your internet and can take your data. We have seen many, even Hollywood movies like Die Hard, where entire city is taken to the ransom. And we have also heard about WannaCry ransomware in a couple of years back, when even we had to disconnect internet from our office computers because they were demanding money. So cybersecurity extremely important in all these technologies. They have to well connected and well protected. Augmented reality, this is like you add something on your mobile app, augment your actual reality. And what better than Pokemon Go? Again, the best game, and it went to 50 million users in just 19 days, 1 9. That's the power of user experience, intuitive user experience. Even adults were playing Pokemon Go while they were walking and going to office, and there were a lot of accidents in United States because of Pokemon Go. So AR, good technology to go. Here you can see mobile app, you just switch it on and keep horizontal, and it will show you which are the shops in front of you, what is on the left side, what is on the right side. So best for shopping if you don't know the area. That's how it helps you out. Virtual reality, this is where you sit on your couch, but you go to either Niagara Falls or Taj Mahal or any such exotic location. And real estate people are actually also using it, travel industry is using it. I mean, if you want to buy a 5-bedroom flat in Hiranandani, Powai, then the dealer can show you on your at your home. Sir, ye dekho, from 25th floor you can look down by wearing those goggles. That is called as virtual reality. You are sitting here but going out into some virtual reality. This is again Six Flags and all these theme parks, they use this kind of technology. You are just sitting on the chair and this chair is just moving around and will give you an experience that you are riding a roller coaster. That's the virtual reality experience. 3D printing, another great technology where now even human limbs are getting printed and can be used for betterment of our life. So that's the technology power which is coming in. I have a quick video how all these technologies are kept together. So I'll just play it for 1 minute and let me just show, let me share the sound and let's see this.
I'm inside the brand new Amazon.
I hope you all can hear the sound, right? Yes, okay.
Amazon Go grocery store. I'm going to give you a sneak peek. You might have seen Amazon Go before, but this has fresh produce. It's an entirely new concept from Amazon. I'm going to check it out. I can buy things like meat, fruit and vegetables and bread, and there is no checkout required. All right, I've got my app on my phone. All I have to do is tap that. I've got my QR code ready and I just scan to go in. Amazon invited us inside the store in Seattle, Washington just a few days before opening, and we got a good look around. So the difference with the Amazon Go grocery store is that you're going to find more things that you'd find in a regular grocer. So think less kind of convenient items you might get in the middle of the city, snacks, cans of soft drink. You're more likely to find stuff that you'll make for dinner. So I've got organic chicken here. I think I'm going to have roast chicken for dinner. Now, there's a lot of the brands that you might see in Whole Foods. Remember that Amazon owns Whole Foods. So if I want to have a roast chicken with roast potatoes, that's something that I'll be able to buy the entire meal here. Now, remember that all of this, I don't have to have my wallet on me. It's not even using my phone. It's all just using the cameras in the ceiling. I can't even count how many cameras are up there, but they're all watching me, working out where I'm moving in the store. Imagine it kind of like a driverless car. So the car can detect objects on the road like a pedestrian, but in this case, I'm the pedestrian. It's that same sort of technology, powered by machine learning and using so many cameras. I mean, you think there's more surveillance cameras in a regular store? I think you're probably mistaken. I feel kind of like I'm being watched right now. So while it might be like a regular grocery store and I can pick up things like a bottle of ketchup or some laundry detergent, I can also pick up fresh fruit and vegetables. Now, that makes sense for me as a shopper. I might want to choose this tomato or this one. Nah, I think I'm going to choose this one. Me being picky and fussy is kind of normal for my regular grocery shop, but it makes it quite difficult for the cameras above me to know what I'm doing. These cameras, and there's loads of them through the store, have to be able to detect me. They have to also know what I'm doing in the produce aisle. Don't want a tomato anymore. I'm going to get an avocado.
One of the things that was very important to us that we wanted to hide all the complexity behind, so that when you're in the store, you could be as naturally shopping and focus on what you want for your dinner tonight versus worrying about any of the complexity that goes behind the scenes. What makes this very challenging is you have a lot of unpackaged items. These are very considered purchases. People come in and they pick up different items. They want to put things back. They may reach over that.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to make it as natural and convenient for customers, all while maintaining the accuracy of your receipts. All of this happens using cameras and machine learning and deep learning algorithms in the cloud.
The other difference about this store is you've got a lot of things like doors opening and closing. So if I want to get something from the frozen aisle, that's great for me, but what happens when the cameras are obscured by a door? What happens if the door's messed up? It makes it pretty difficult. So Amazon says they've had to update the machine learning that's powering this store to make sure that they can still see everything that's going on. Amazon won't say if this is the first of many stores, so we may just have to wait and see. So there you have it. I've just walked through an entire grocery store and this is pretty much the checkout experience. I just walk out the doors. Amazon calls it their just walk out technology. The idea is I don't need to talk to anyone. I don't need to pay anyone. It's detected me through the entire store and everything's going to get emailed to me via the app. Got everything in my bag, so I'm going to go make a delicious roast chicken dinner. Single avocado on the side. I don't know if I'm a great cook, but I think I have everything I need.
So you understand, right? How
I'm inside the brand.
technology has changed, and that's where many companies are still struggling to choose these kind of technology. There are many challenges. Many digital initiatives are ad hoc. People just take it for one of the initiative and then don't spread it across entire enterprise wide. Lacking central oversight and leadership, this is another problem where companies fail, because if CEO or board of directors don't come in and drive this, it's not going to work out. Traditional culture, because we have a lot of ego problems, all the leaders at the top, they have a lot of weight under their chair, I would say. So there are cultural problems. Employees are also reluctant to change. So there is a gap in the talent. People don't want to learn new skills, and then legacy systems. So it's not one size that fits all. Every digital transformation for every company will be different, and they have to overcome all these challenges to get forward. Now, typically, we suggest or recommend these 5-3-2 kind of card game where there are 5 frameworks. We talk from digital strategy, which is where we actually align this to the business strategy. Then the next step is knowing where do you stand. So digital maturity assessment. This is a 5-level assessment for the company. So they will come to know which level they are. Then the third foundational step is customer journey mapping. It is where you actually map the entire journey of customer. Like she went through the store, you need to know what customers are doing when they are interacting with your business and identify all the problems areas, which is then mapped on the digital transformation roadmap, which is on the timeline based on the impact and your customer experience. And the 5th framework is digital marketing strategy. आजकल जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. That's what we said, right? So everything has to be in front of customers. So these are the 5 frameworks we normally suggest to the companies, to the SMEs, to the leaders that they should go and make their digital transformation successful. Again, this is applied to 3 areas. First one is customer experience. See that girl, how happy she is eating the ice cream, right? So that's where typical customer experience has to be really good. Then your business models, they need to change. Like Swiggy and Zomato, they changed to grocery and liquor delivery when hotels were closed down last year, and that's how they survived. Third one, obviously, your operations get optimized, and all this leads into almost 20% increase in the revenue and 30% reduction in the cost. Those are the 2 outcomes of digital transformation. But more are like your customers are engaged, your employees are empowered, your operations are optimized, and your business models are transformed. So these are the 4 things which come to you. This is how a traditional BI or reporting looks like, a rear view mirror. What was my revenue last year, last month, so on and so. Everything today or past. But what digital tells you is the road ahead. Don't take this picture as literally, but it's actually like taking a course correction. You can stop, you can take break, you can change the road and whatnot, right? So digital transformation can save you in the future from going to the dust, getting closed down. Let me take you to the future, 2025. This guy is ordering double cheese burst large pizza, and typically people are happy about ordering, but this guy is not, because the lady says, sir, you have already consumed 2 pounds of cheese this week. Your health record shows you have high cholesterol. Your Facebook post shows that you are above 50 years and your insurance premium is just increased. So we advise you to go for red pasta instead. Because they have access to all the 360-degree customer view and all the access to the customer records. This is what is going to happen to us. And we are giving all the access to the customers and the apps, right, on the mobile phone. Anytime you install an app, you are giving you are allowing them to share your data. That's where Facebook got into trouble a couple of years back, right? So this is another WhatsApp joke, right? But Google says they are hiring, no need to apply, because they already have all our information. If you open your Google map, you can see actually for last 30 days where you have been on the map. It will show you with your location on. So that's what Google is storing, each and every behavior of us while we are doing. So that's what we typically wanted to talk about today, a very short, crisp, just understanding of what is digital transformation. And I hope we have not made you bored you like this child. But this was fun. I mean, there is a whole lot of things, but since the time is restricted, we said we will stick to this. All our contact details are here mentioned here, and I will also add them to the chat box. But if there are any questions people want to ask us, we are ready to take it. I hope I am on time. Yeah, 10, 12. Yes. Hope this was fruitful, at least easy to understand what digital is all about. But we'll be happy to take any question.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Um, is, yeah. Is there anything like over digitalization? Can you overdo it? And, for example, you got a simple um movie membership,
Yeah,
and they ask you for 14-digit uh, verification code,
correct.
two-step verification, and just overcomplication for something which doesn't have much monetary value.
Absolutely. Yes, that happens. And that's where people don't think about the customer journey. If they don't map the customer journey and try to give more to the customers, then it could be a problem. Again, WhatsApp has so many different jokes coming in. So I saw one video where conversational bots is a fun thing now, right? So that home is completely on the conversation bot. That person is talking, Alexa, please switch on the light. Alexa, please do this. Alexa, please do that. Then he left home and he goes to the dentist because of some problem. Now he actually does some, root canal or something, and his voice changes. So when he comes back, he cannot even open the home because that voice is not recognized by Alexa. So this is the overdoing of digital that can happen if you don't actually map the customer journey. Possible. Thank you, sir. Any other question?
I have a question.
Yes, Kajal.
So, as seen in the previous slides, the COVID-19 pandemic was one of the main reasons for a jump in the digital transformation.
Correct.
Now, 5 years down the line, how do you anticipate the factors that would maintain or rather increase the rate of growth of this digital transformation?
Well, basically, I would say there will be new technologies, and I have removed a couple of slides because of the time constraint. But the IoT and artificial intelligence, these are the two technologies which will make a huge impact on us as individuals or even the organizations when they are actually interacting with their customers. So all this will be taken care by technology. And as Edul sir has asked or mentioned, there could be over digitization that can also happen. But yes, this is how people will use this technology. AR, VR is also one of the good technology at nascent stage right now. Blockchain is coming up. You must have seen many financial institutions are picking up blockchain and applying or started doing some use cases in AI. So that will kind of come as a democratization of these technologies. It will be a default given to the people. Now, as we drive, our car by default, right? We don't need training when you are started driving, but that's how you learn. So similarly, these technologies will give us a lot of leeway of adoption of digital going forward. So growth obviously will be there, but it can be managed with all these technologies which will come in.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Faizal.
Thank you for that very interesting presentation, Sandeep and Pomya. A question to you.
Sure.
As you talk about getting to be a butterfly from a caterpillar rather than just a faster caterpillar.
Yeah.
As you talk about real-time intelligence and monitoring real digital customer requirements.
Mhm.
Could you comment on the trade-off between betterment of life, protection, and balancing the 3 V's that you mentioned, volume, velocity, and variety? Because all those 3 V's are increasing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So betterment of life obviously will go on increasing because these technologies will help us going forward. Use this technology, they will become default in our homes and in our cars. That will definitely help. The privacy or the security is a concern, going big concern, because there are examples where algorithms have predicted something, and you might have heard about a case on read somewhere some superstore in US. They actually predicted that a customer is pregnant, and the lady actually, her father came in shouting saying that how can you say my daughter is pregnant. But then they said, we sir don't have any clue about it, but our algorithms have predicted she has bought so many different items which actually are required in the pregnancy. So that's where we predicted. So that kind of privacy encroachment can happen. So it has to be very properly manipulated, and results should be properly submitted or presented to the senior leadership. So privacy obviously is there. And the third thing you mentioned about volume, variety, and velocity. Now, you must have seen Formula One cars, right? The race which happens in so many different cities. Every millisecond, that data comes from that car to the pit. And I myself have delivered a couple of projects on that. I mean, imagine the speed with which that data is coming. Every millisecond, 2, 3, 4 tires are sending, that shop absorbers are sending that data point. And there we have to apply that algorithm and say that, okay, now is the time that drivers should come to the pit to change their tires. So this is actually the betterment of the driver's life, which is when applied to our own lives as consumers will definitely enhance our life. But yes, privacy is a concern, but we ourselves are responsible for that, because every app we use, we are sharing our data to the people. And that's why WhatsApp was also in trouble a couple of days back.
So would you say that in today's day and age of actually becoming greener, cleaner, and more resource responsible, concept that you introduced of a 20% increase in productivity effectively with a 30% decrease in cost could go together with an increase in green efficiency, monitoring, and implementation with choice?
It's again depends on how the individual governments actually make it ready, possible, and encourage people to use it, encourage business industries to use it. And that's where these senior leaders also have concern about AI, artificial intelligence, because if it goes into the wrong hands, people can use the machines to train against the human race. I mean, we have seen those Iron Man movies, right? Where those machines are trained to kill someone, and that can happen if they feed multiple thousands of pictures of wars and everything. That machine can do the same thing because they are only doing something which is given to them. So that's why there is a concern. And it depends how every industry, how every government, how every country adopts this digital. If they go into the Iron Man way, then the things will be good. If they go into the Terminator way, then there is a challenge.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Splendid.
Sir, आपका आवाज नहीं आ रहा है. Yes, sir. Can't hear you. Now we can.
Can you hear?
Yes. Go ahead.
So governments are run by politicians.
Absolutely.
Companies are run by businessmen. So their objectives are all different. The problem is what Karishma was possibly asking is that how do you optimize the resources? And that I think has to be done at the individual level. And nobody is enabling the individual to optimize the resources
Right.
for a greener or a better environment.
And even the first slide which I showed you, right? Theme, data, insight, and action. That action is upon us as an individual or as business, right? You can take the horse to the pond, but you cannot push him down to drink the water. It's action upon horse itself. That's how it happens. Sorry, I'm taking a lot of different examples, but that's how I like to explain things, so that makes it easier. Anyone else has any questions? I hope this was simplified digital transformation than what normally people talk about, gardeners, foresters, because everybody confuses it more and more.
Karishma, would you like to wind up?
Thank you very much, Sandeep and Homyar, for that very interesting, simple, and insightful session on how we use not a rear view mirror,
Yeah,
but use digital transformation to see the road ahead,
sure.
course correct,
Yeah.
and make a better life for customers that actually buy our products. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you very much.
Next time, I mean, I think on 19th, right? Yes, this is 19th Jan, we are doing the next session, which is more on the digital marketing. How do you make yourself visible to the customers? Because today it is like what they say in Hindi, jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. The moment you are in front of customers or on top of their minds, only then you will be able to, give or sell something. So that's what is digital marketing all about. And with this pandemic, when there are restrictions to meet customers or physically meeting, digital marketing is the way to go. So we'll cover that next time. So please do join us on 19th same time, 9:30 p.m. India time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good night, all of you.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Night.